Hey, everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope y'all having a good Saturday. Listen, out here in Jersey, it was raining all day, but I was in the streets a little bit in the rain. Then I came back and I painstakingly read through that 73-page lawsuit that little Rodney has against Diddy and some others. We're going to get into it. But little Rodney, he had a lot to say. Little Rodney, according to his lawsuit, he witnessed a lot with his own eyes. Little Rodney, when I read it over and over again, I never saw once where little Rodney said he was not free to go. Now I got others who read it. They bought their ticket. They bought their ticket and they got their seat on this train. They got their ticket. And they can tell me, and I'm going to tell y'all ahead of time, buckle your seatbelt. Because we got stuff to talk about. Yeah, we do. I'm warning you ahead of time. Buckle your seatbelt. Now, if y'all want to stay on this train ride, we got to level up. Yeah, we're going to have to level up. Because we already know Diddy is sinister. Cassie told us that. Cassie told us about the FO parties. Cassie told us about the workers that get paid. Cassie told us that he sent for those workers and they was getting it in all night and they was doing other stuff. They was involved in substances. So it's not shocking. So little Rodney, he adds to that story and says the same thing. Okay. I was waiting for little Rodney to say that he was never allowed to leave. Felicia, I appreciate you. Come on, that's right. Buckle up, buttercups. Thank you for the super chat. Buckle up. I turned it this way. I turned it that way. I went and cleaned my glasses. And I never saw in there where little Rodney said, I was forced to stay and partake in everything. He said throughout the year, he was off and on times where he lived with Diddy. Unless you are stay in the nanny, the living nanny, why are you living with your boss? I got others who read it. I'm trying to figure out where little Rodney said he was forced to stay. Little Rodney saw some things that he lied about. And he said he lied because he was afraid and he had to. So you seen a married man. Come on, Sebastian. We might be on the car together. A married man with kids. We might be on the car together. Listen, I'm 100% for victims getting justice. I'm 100% that victims, we need to hear your voice. But I'm also 100% at what point are you held accountable for the things that you do? I'm just checking. At what point? When does that happen? Never. So most of us, either we get paid every week, we get paid every 2 weeks. Some people get paid bi-monthly. They get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. But they do know their payday. If I work at a job and I know that Friday I'm supposed to get paid, if you don't run me my money, there's problems. Can I speak to HR? Who do I need to talk to because I need my money? I don't work for free. If I could afford to work for free, I would go do charity somewhere. Volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club, down at the church, at the shelter. If I didn't need my money. But you work for somebody for a whole year, and all they keep doing is promising you stuff. But along with them promising you stuff, they violating you, and you hanging in there. Now, don't get me wrong. This man needs to go down. You saw the thumbnail, decades of darkness. But see, little Rodney, don't muddy the waters when we need to get this man, and you come in with the foolery, and your lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn. I want to speak to Tyrone. If anybody out there know Tyrone, tell him come holler at the diva. I want to speak to him. I want to know in his office, do he have paralegals? And when his clients come through the door and they talking to him, do he just get to typing and everything they say, he just go ahead and use that, and he don't filter, organize, or nothing? I want to have a conversation with Tyrone. Then at the end of this lawsuit, Rodney puts his prayer, his Hail Mary out there on what he want. Well, why didn't you and your lawyer focus in this document to say what it is you want? You told us about criminal activity. Did you speak to the popo? Did you speak to the police, Rodney? Did you go back and tell the popo that night when said situation happened, you lied and now you want to tell the truth? No, you trying to pull on our heartstrings and get $30 million. Then you said the incident, we're going to get into it, y'all, because and that's why this is a discussion. Decades of darkness. And y'all know y'all hate to go here. Y'all hate to go here, but we're going to have to take this thing all the way back to darn near where he was born. His mama name is Janice Combs. Janice, we want to speak to you. I know Janice is in her 80s, but we got to have a conversation with her. Because we can't afford to have anybody else raise and give birth to a Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah, I'm going to show you something where I'm going to tag Janice with some of this responsibility on why the way Diddy seems allegedly to handle his disputes is by knocking you upside your head. And he don't care if you male, female, allegedly. I want to speak to Gene Deal. All of these people out here running their mouth. Yeah, that happened. What was y'all doing when it happened? And it took a girl, it took Cassie to come out for y'all to want to speak your truth all of a sudden. I'm going to need y'all to go sit down. Because y'all allowed it to go down. Everyone that seems to want to speak up, they was part of the problem. Respectfully, little Rodney said he got felt up all day long, darn near every day. And not one day he got a prayer. He said he was born and raised pretty much in the church. He never. Now in the lawsuit, he got a prayer. Rodney, you never thought, hey, let me run. You was able to leave apparently because at the end of the day, when you didn't get your check, you finally left. Y'all know what I need in the chat. Come on. Rodney hands are dirty. Come on. See, he low-key is Thornton Diddy. His hands are dirty. And he wants to try to clean his hands by saying, I was a victim. Rodney, we see the blood on your hands, literally. And now, so you throw all of this in there to try to mix our mind up. But no, I cleared my mind. And I read through it. Then I said, let me skim through it again. Then I had to get with myself and say, how am I feeling? You know how I'm feeling, Ronnie? Your hands are dirty. We see the blood under your nails. We see the guilt in your eyes. And then you connected with Tyrone, who act like he just finished law school yesterday. Anyway, guys, I need the board this train. What do I want? What do I want in the chat? Come on, Tay. I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Saturday night. We're having a discussion, okay, on Decades of Darkness. Sean, P. Diddy, Puffy, Brother Love Combs. His timeline of terror. The lawsuits and more. We're going to talk about it, everybody. Let me bring the people all in the building so we can have this discussion. Hey, Leo.
Hey, Diva, and you won't stop. Decades and decades. Don't stop, won't stop.
Don't stop, won't stop. Okay? A whole terrorist. Hey, Katrina. Ooh. Hey, Felicia.
Damn. You're going after everybody tonight, Diva.
Come on now. We're going to have to bring Mama Combs in here.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to bring Mama Combs. Come on, Daphne. Where is he? He's a victim holding that umbrella.
That's worth in years.
That part, holding the umbrella. He's seen some things too. But he went away and went quiet. And he probably in therapy every day on his computer, doing a Zoom with his therapist to get the darkness of Diddy out of his mind. We're going to start by giving a timeline. Let me see if I find it. Of Diddy and all his dirty deeds. Keep in mind, this timeline are the ones we know about. If you think allegedly a man could throw all of these parties with all of these substances, allegedly lacing people drinks, and you think nobody ever OD'd there, I'm sure they have.
You're a fool.
You're a fool. Come on, Sebastian, you connected with me. And you know what they did? They called the coroner's office. That's how much connection this man got. They called the coroner's office. Come pick him up. I don't know. Tell their family whatever. And it didn't happen here. Everybody's body can't take all of this stuff. Stuff went down there. A lot of darkness. There's a lot of people that won't say a word, and you couldn't pay them. Let's go through this timeline. Hold on one second. Let me go up here. Started when he was young, a stampede, a pow, bodyguard brawls, how Sean Diddy Combs' legal troubles have played out. This man, listen, there's going to be movies, a series, and all kind of stuff made about Diddy. They just got to wait till he go down and he behind bars, and they're going to be scared of him behind bars. I would. I don't care if I was a cleaner lady around Diddy. You come to me, I ain't saying nothing. I'm be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Combs 54 has faced dozens of lawsuits over his 4-decade career as a hip-hop mogul, with some incidents involving accusations of violence. A lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs of R and abuse was quickly settled out of court one day after it was filed last week, adding a lengthy list of accusations and legal troubles for a longtime entertainment mogul. Combs, whose net worth was estimated at $1 billion, and that's gone. Because after that Cassie lawsuit, they dropped him like wildfire. Has faced legal action or settlement payouts for more than a dozen times over a career spanning 4 decades as a rapper. Producer mogul, according to court documents reviewed by NBC News, some of the allegations relate to his music and business pursuits, and many were ultimately thrown out. while half a dozen of the actions naming Combs 54 accused him of either committing or having others commit violence. In most recent lawsuit, Combs' former girlfriend Cassie, the R&B singer, accused him of harming her, trafficking her, and physically abusing her while they dated. Terms of the settlement announced Friday were not disclosed. Now, this is what triggered. Let's be reminded here. We're going down memory lane for a second. We're going to get into it. You better buckle your seat.
Diddy Combs facing a slew of allegations, including rape and sex trafficking, in a stunning new civil lawsuit filed Thursday by his longtime partner, singer Cassie. According to the complaint, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, alleges Combs asserted complete control over her personal and professional life. Throughout their relationship, Ventura says that she endured a cycle of abuse and violence for more than a decade. The lawsuit even detailing Combs thanking Ventura during a Lifetime Achievement Award speech on BET last year.
Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
She's also accusing the rapper of forcing her into unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers through the use of illegal substances and threats of violence, saying Combs allegedly recorded the sex acts to reinforce her inability to escape. The complaint going on to accuse Combs of uncontrollable rage, alleging that he often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on her, then allegedly used his money to hide evidence of abuse, including putting Ventura up in a hotel for days to heal. Ventura also accusing Combs of rape, saying as their relationship was nearing the end, he forced himself into her apartment in 2018. The acclaimed music producer vehemently denying the allegations, his attorney calling them offensive and outrageous, writing in part, "For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail."
In a statement, Cassie's attorneys say Combs offered their client 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of the lawsuit, adding their client should be applauded for her bravery. NBC News has reached out to Combs' attorney, who responded she should not be applauded, period.
All right, Chloe Malas, we'll keep following.
Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
Hey.
Just going down memory lane for a second. The amount of the litigation is not necessarily surprising given Combs' celebratory stature and high-profile dealings, said his Morena Irie, a professor at the Georgia State University College of Law and director of Center for Entertainment, Sports, and Intellectual Property Law. Combs, who went from launching his own music label, Bad Boy Records. Listen, we could be here forever, but I ain't going to go down this road, but they say there's something in the name too, right? Bad Boy Records, to enterprises in fashion, food, and television, and has previously accused people of filing nonsense claims against him simply because of who he is. I'm not implying he's a target, Irie said of Combs, but when you live out loud, and he lives out loud, that type of large persona is going to attract attention and potentially lawsuits. Combs rarely faced criminal charges. His arrest in 2015 on suspicion of attacking his son's football coach at UCLA with a kettlebell resulted in prosecutors declining to pursue charges. Can you tell how deep his pockets go? They said they ain't even going to press charges. Combs' representatives and lawyers did not immediately respond to requests for comment Tuesday when they were asked about the volume and nature of lawsuits over the years. Public figures generally want to avoid bad publicity, even if your company is called Bad Boy, Irie said. So if you can avoid that by figuring out a settlement, that might be the most advantageous way to go. Now let's go through a history of his crimes. Here go the timeline. 1991. We in 2024, people. He been sinister. Combs, 22, helped promote a celebrity charity basketball event at City College that included the rapper Heavy D. A surging crowd for the oversold game led to a stampede that resulted in deaths of 9 people. He been had blood on his hands and injuries to more than 24 others, while no criminal charges were filed. Again, every time you turn around, nothing ever filed. No criminal charges ever filed. A state judge decision found the college and Combs and Heavy D equally liable for the tragedy, paving the way for nearly a dozen wrongful death and personal injury lawsuits. In 2000, the last of the lawsuits involving Combs was settled for an undisclosed amount. That was tragic back then. Tragic. Here we go, 1995. A limousine driver said he was beaten by bodyguards Combs hired to protect the singer Mary J. Blige. In a lawsuit, Lemon said the guards punched and kicked him backstage at a concert as they tried to clear the area and accused Combs of having failed to properly train his security. Lemon won the suit by default after Combs did not appear in court. His spokesperson said he was unaware of it. In 2004, an appeals court overturned the order that required Combs to pay Lemon $450,000. You see how deep his pocket's going, how far back it goes? This is 1999. Combs was arrested on felony charges in New York and accused of beating a rival record executive Steve after a reported dispute over a music video scene in which Combs was nailed to the cross. Combs later apologized and asked the Manhattan District Attorney to drop the charges, according to the New York Times. In addition, a lawsuit was avoided, but Combs reportedly agreed to pay him $500,000. In another alleged altercation, Roger Mills, a Detroit-based cable TV host, accused Combs and his entourage of attacking him after he refused to sell Combs a video interview in which he was asked about his involvement in the 1997 unsolved killing of bad boy artist Christopher Wallace, known by stage name Biggie Smalls and Notorious Big. In 2001, Mills sued Combs, alleging assault, false imprisonment, and destruction of property. A spokeswoman for Combs denied the claims and accused Mills of a blatant attempt to exploit Mr. Combs' celebrity for media attention. The case went to trial, and a jury in 2004 ruled in favor of Combs in all counts. Do y'all see how deep this man's pockets goes? He used to never pay him for it, not a crime. Finally, at the end of 1999, Combs was engulfed in controversy with an arrest in which he was accused of criminal possession of a weapon for pow-pow in a New York club, at a New York nightclub. Combs was at the club with then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and the rapper Shine, real name Moses, who witnesses said they saw fire the pow-pow into the crowd. Witnesses say they also saw Combs with a weapon, according to prosecutors. Shortly after the incident, police pulled over Combs and Lopez and said they had located a firearm inside the car. Shine was arrested and convicted in 2001 on 2 counts of assault, reckless endangerment, and gun possession, and he was later deported to his native Belize. Combs was acquitted of weapons and bribery charges. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit filed by 3 people injured in the shooting was settled for an undisclosed amount in 2011. He's been paying people for decades. In 2001, Combs was sued by his on-again and off-again girlfriend, the model Kim Porter, for additional child support for their 3-year-old son. A settlement was eventually reached in Manhattan Family Court. The couple co-parented 4 children together, and Porter died in 2019 of pneumonia. So they say. That's the, but we're going to carry on. 2005, Randall Hanson Combs reached a settlement after publishing giant said he was given a $300,000 advance for a memoir he was supposed to have finished in 1999 but never completed. The book deal was scrapped. 2007, a former consultant, James, sued Combs for $19 million, alleging that Combs failed to pay him in full for recording he made of Biggie in Miami 1994. So Little Rodney, we got a person saying way back when that they didn't get paid by Diddy. You let me carry on. Okay. The suit was dismissed in 2009. Separately, Sammartino was at the center of a fraudulent article involving Combs and the slain rapper Tupac Shakur that forced the Los Angeles Times to retract a bombshell story in 2008. Also in 2007, a party goer in Los Angeles said Combs punched him in the face as he was leaving a post-Oscars hotel event and caused him to fly backwards several feet, according to the lawsuit. He also claimed in the lawsuit that Combs pushed his girlfriend. An attorney for Combs that disputed the complaint as just another example of an opportunist seeking to fabricate a lawsuit. A settlement was reached in 2008, the terms not disclosed. 2011, he got another lawsuit. He said a person said that Combs' bodyguards assaulted him on New Year's Eve as he took a picture of him outside the Dream Hotel in Miami. A settlement was reached in 2017 in which the guy agreed to receive $35,000 in exchange for releasing Combs, his bodyguards, and the insurance company from liability. He got off easy there. 2017. Cindy, Combs' personal chef in 2015, filed a suit claiming she was subjected to SH and worked long hours without being properly compensated. In her complaint, she said Combs told her to cook a whatever meal, and wanted to know whether she was attracted to his naked body. She was fired in 2016, and a spokesperson for Combs described her as a disgruntled ex-employee. She settled with Combs in 2019, again, undisclosed amount. 2022, a former nanny. This is his timeline, y'all. It's sick. And this is the timeline that we know about. A former nanny for Combs filed a lawsuit against him alleging wrongful termination after she said she disclosed her pregnancy in 2020. She also says she was a niece of Kim Porter's. And in response filed this year in Los Angeles County Superior Court, Combs denied that she is Porter's niece and that she was discriminated against. A spokesperson for Combs called the suit, which he continues, a meritless shakedown to extort money from Mr. Combs. Everybody's against him. Now, we all know about Cassie and her claims. And we know that she got an undisclosed amount. And we saw all the sinister things that he did to her in that lawsuit. And they both, at the end, they wished each other the best. And to give you a quick timeline. Now, before I get into it and get to pieces of this lawsuit, let's meet his mama. Hold on one second.
Also, Diva, if since Lil Rod couldn't do basic research, you could also put in your search filters on Google timelines of prior to Cassie's lawsuit, and you would still see Diddy's controversies over the years.
Come on, Sebastian, we connected. I appreciate you. Look at Mama Combs. Look at Janice. Diddy's mother didn't tell him the truth about his father growing up, but even as a kid, he knew. Sean Diddy Combs' father was a drug dealer and died when Diddy was just 2 years old. His mother kept the truth from him while he was growing up, but he still knew the truth from around the neighborhood. You know, the people in the neighborhood, you might as well tell your kid the truth, because the people going to tell your kid. They'll be like, oh, we heard that wasn't your real daddy, or we heard this. The kids, the streets talk. So Sean Diddy Combs grew up without his father in his life, and his mother, Janice Combs, was determined to ensure that her child knew nothing about the reality of his life. Still, despite her best efforts, the future hip-hop icon was still able to piece together what happened to his father. Diddy's mother kept the father's cause of death a secret from him, but he still knew. Diddy's father, Melvin Combs, was a drug dealer who made his money on the streets of New York. He was killed when Diddy was just 2 years old. Diddy continued to grow up in Harlem before his mother moved them to the suburbs. Until I was 12, I lived in Harlem. Then we moved to Mount Vernon, New York. That was my mom's way of getting us out of the inner city after my father was killed. But my grandmother lived in Harlem, so I went back and forth, he recounted in 2006 interview with Oprah. I remember the simple things about Mount Vernon, grass, trees, and being able to play baseball. In Harlem, there was no Little League, no front yard with grass, but the neighborhood was multicultural, so that broadened my horizons. Diddy's mother was determined to keep his outlook on life peaceful as their surrounding, so she did everything she could to protect him. That included telling lies about his father and his fate. She tried to protect me. My father was a hustler who sold drugs. During his time, that was the way out of Harlem. Either that or playing basketball, he said. My mother didn't want me to follow in his footsteps, so she was selective about which truth she told me. My father was in the Army and he owned a limousine service, and he died in a car accident. Actually, he was shot in a car. But even as a kid, I put two and two together. I noticed that guys from the street in Harlem always seemed to know my family's last name. I used to run with your father, they tell me. All my uncles were street hustlers as well. Being a single parent isn't easy. One person is charged with duties typically split between two people. My mother played the role of a father, and my grandmother played the role of my mother, Diddy said honestly. Diddy's mother often had to step into the role of a father, which included teaching her son how to defend himself. This is what I want y'all to see, and I want y'all to take this in. This is the piece I want y'all to take in. Here it is, people. Take this in. One day when I was about 9, I went to the store for my grandmother and someone stole my money. I came home crying. My mother wouldn't let me in the house. Are y'all catching this? My mother wouldn't let me in the house. She said, go back out there and get that money. He was 9. Yeah, we need to talk to Janice and we need to talk about Janice. Do y'all catch this? She didn't open the door. She said, go back out there and get that money. And if anyone puts their hands on you, make sure they never do it again. Do you catch that? That's how Diddy lived his whole life after that day. It was a life-changing moment for him. That mother shut that door. She said, go get that money. And not only do you get it, you make sure that they know you are Combs. Don't let them do it again. Okay? She knew the reality. If people smell weakness, they take advantage of you. You have to defend yourself. On the other hand, my grandmother was like, come here, baby. I'll walk with you to the store. I'm not saying that my mom would never have let me back in that house that day, but she was trying to teach me a lesson. And OMG, what a lesson Mama Janice taught. In early 2020, Diddy received the Industry Icon Award at Clive Davis Fame pre-Grammys party. During his speech, he paid tribute to Uptown founder Andre Harrell. I'm going to say rest his soul, but Andre Harrell, who gave him a job at the record label and helped him get his foot in the door in the music industry. He also explained that his connection to Harrell went deeper than just a professional relationship. All I'm going to say is, I call you big brother, but tonight I got to tell you the truth, he said. I told you my father died when I was 2.5. Andre, you've been my father for like the last 30 years. Well, Andre failed him. Harrell died just a few months later in May 2020. Diddy isn't the only person in the music industry to consider Harrell a father figure. Mary J. Blige has expressed similar sentiments. I took y'all down memory lane for a reason. At 9, his mama said, go back out there and get that money and let them know who you are. And since then, Diddy lets you know who he is when he see you and you meet him. Don't play with Diddy. He'll let you know I'll bust you upside the head. Don't play with Diddy. Now, let's go. Let me just X out of some of this stuff. So I can have a clear picture here.
Well, now we know why he smacked his mama. We get it. We clear. We good now.
We good. Hey, Dustin. We good. Yes, we do know. She told him, don't play that. Don't you show these people who you are. So let's go present day with little Rodney in his lawsuit. that got a whole lot of stuff in it. And then he sprinkles in the fact that he never got paid. He also does the foolery of, he promised me Star Island. He promised me this. He promised me that. And you sat there and believed it. Leo, I'm going to trickle in this lawsuit as we go along. But I guess I'll mention everybody. Is Ronnie against Sean Combs. He names Diddy's oldest son, Justin Dior Combs, as a defendant. These are the defendants he named. He named a whole bunch of other people: Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group, Combs Global Enterprises, some Jane and John Does, ABC Corporations, and some other people. He got all of this and he won a jury trial. But see, I don't think little Ronnie's ready for that. Little Ronnie, this thing is nasty. Got a lot going on. Let me see. Let me give y'all the first piece of it. We'll trickle it in. So little Ronnie got a lot of allegations in here. He's saying he never got paid. Worked on and off, worked for Diddy for a year, and on and off he would be back and forth at Diddy's house. In the lawsuit, he got pictures of Diddy. Diddy looking like he looking older because when Diddy home and he got the gray hair and everything. He put a picture of Justin Dior Combs in there. Listen, these kids, pray for the Combs kids because they all saw a lot. I promise you they probably did. Go ahead, drop in, Leo, because it's a lot.
It is a whole lot. I wish it was a little bit more focused, or either if you're going to talk about criminal behavior, then let it be a criminal case. If you want to talk about civil and the monies that you are owed, then the complaint should be a little bit streamlined to be about the monies that you are owed. I do believe the man should have been paid for his services. But this here complaint right here, good googly my. I mean, they threw everything in the kitchen sink about this man's business. And it's mail fraud. It is wire fraud in there. It is about how he got the substances through the mail, how he got the sex workers, how they were paid through wire. I mean, it is everything that I knew kind of, but to have it laid out in civil terms, and then the attorney, Tyrone Blackman, uses this language about the RICO. It's the RICO, and it is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. He speaks of that language as well, all through the complaint. So I don't know what everybody else feels about it. When I read it, I don't know if this is just being salacious, or is it to be salacious to get your money from him? I'm not quite sure. Did he not make not one dime? Does the complaint say he didn't get paid? But what does that exactly mean? That he did not get one single solitary penny, and he stayed a whole year? I mean, I'm not quite clear about that. All the monies that he's trying to recoup from Diddy at this time, Puff Daddy, is in relation to everything he had to suffer through when he was with him. Okay. So he's saying that he dealt with all these things that went on. He didn't get paid, and he was abused at the same time. And that Puffy is a criminal. He is committing criminal acts transnationally and because he suffered through it and saw so much, he need to get paid? He was assaulted, he was harassed, he was under emotional distress, and so he needs to get paid because he didn't get paid while he was doing this the whole time. I don't know. What's the question, Diva? What are we trying to clear up here?
Listen, we just trying to sort through and have this discussion. That's why I called it a discussion, to see what we see, that because we're not sure. That's because little Rodney wasn't sure. You understand what I'm saying?
Now
I'm gonna share a little piece. So hold on one second. I'm gonna share a little piece, and we're gonna keep circling back to everybody. So let me just share a little piece real quick. Let me share a little piece. I think this piece I could share real quick because we're clear of anything really being on here. So Defenders Code Enterprises, So here's Rodney Little Rod Jones. Rodney Little Rod Jones is from the Windy City, Chi-Town. He was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Mr. Jones is the second oldest son and fourth child out of 9 siblings. Mr. Jones comes from a long line of gospel music influencers. Mr. Jones started playing instruments at the age of 5. He began playing drums in the church. And at the age of 13, he picked up playing the guitar. From 13 to present day, Mr. Jones has taught himself to play over 13 instruments. So he wants to put himself in there. You know, he's a good light. He's a protege. He did this. He did that. Let me just show you this. Mr. Jones is considered a musical prodigy. His talents has led him to produce and create commercial marketplace for music that has been recorded by some of the most prestigious and highly acclaimed artists in the music industry. Throughout the duration of his career, Mr. Jones has worked in South Side of Chicago music scene, playing with the following legendary greats: the Georgia Mass Choir, Donald Lawrence, the Clark Sisters, and Smokey Norfield. All gospel singers, right? On and about August 22nd, Mr. Jones received a call from Mr. Combs requesting that he produce several songs on a rhythm and blues album titled The Love Album, Off the Grid Love Album. Mr. Jones agreed, and his life was never the same since. That's what he said. From September 2022 to November 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love Album. Mr. Jones lived. Hold on, I think I can. This part is okay. I think this part is okay. Let me show again. Hold on one second. We okay? Because a lot of it I can't show. So from September 2022 to November 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs for Mr. Combs' Love Album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Combs for months at a time. So he didn't say I was stuck there the whole time. For months at a time, spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Who told you to do that? Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Combs' residence in Los Angeles, California, New York City, and Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as producer on the Love Album. Okay, I gotta stop because there's some stuff there that if I scroll down, I'm gonna see that y'all can't see. Hold on one second. Wait, let me just slide down a little bit. Give me 1 minute. Throughout time, he's right. The claims raised in this complaint have been collaborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activities. Let me freeze there for 1 second because I got to get my rhyme right. You stayed like you was an informant, recording hundreds of hours of videos of illegal activity, and nowhere in there you was born and raised in the church, because that's what he said about himself. Nowhere in there did you think to yourself, let me leave. I got 100 hours worth of footage. Let me leave and go to the cops. No, he kept recording, right? Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what else he said. Mr. Jones has evidence, okay, that they use and distributed, and he lists the laundry list of substances that they was distributing. The cocoa, mushrooms, ecstasy, marijuana, they had it all. He said the displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal pow-pows. So you stayed through all of this, Little Rod? Mr. Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and paid workers at his homes in California, New York, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Florida. Mr. Combs' chief of staff, because she's named as one of the defendants, instructing her staff to retrieve these substances and provide them to Mr. Combs whenever he asks. Now, this is where he throws in Christian Combs. That's the one I said looks like Diddy's twin. He said Christian Combs was part of the abusing of the females and giving them stuff to drink so that they can be abused. This is Little Rodney throws this in there. So how does Justin get to be a defendant, but you just named Christian in part of this thing, right? But we're going to carry on because this is Lil Rodney and his lawyer, right? Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image because of the Cassie lawsuit. So he's just throwing everybody under the bus, Little Rodney. Then Little Rodney said that Young Miami's cousin also violated him. He said actor Cuba Gooding Jr. violated him. Then he talks about some rapper who was on Mr. Combs' yacht, and he keeps saying that the women are all underage. But you stayed and watched all of this. Then he said that there was another R&B singer, again with the underage girls and workers. Okay, so he's telling us all the things. What he's telling us is everything that went down while he was spending time with Diddy, and he himself said he spent time on and off, and never did he thought, let me go to the cops. But he found himself at a lawyer's office talking about, for all the things I saw that I can't unsee, I need $30 million. Then he tells this story about how they was at a studio, and he don't know if it was Diddy or Diddy's son, but a man gets pow-powed in the stomach, and he's the hero. He's saying he was scared and he froze because he wasn't sure if he was going to get pow-powed next, but because nobody was helping this man, he ran to this man's side. Saw the man was bleeding from one spot, he put pressure. He claimed, I yelled out, somebody call the ambulance, call 911. Then he said he was putting pressure on one side, and then he noticed the blood was coming out on another side. Somehow he picked this man up and took him to the ambulance. This is Little Ronnie's story. Now, let me just share a screen real quick. I'm going to intimately throw stuff in there because Rodney got a whole bunch of stuff in here that is a lot. So this was the local news around that time, and this is the story Little Rodney was talking about. They said a man was pow-powed outside a party at Hollywood recording studio. At least one person was pow-powed at a party at a Hollywood recording studio, police said Monday. Officers were called, and they give the address around 3 o'clock in the morning. At the location, they found a man that had been pow-powed after stepping outside the studio. The man in his 30s was taken to a hospital in stable condition. He was reportedly pow-powed in the abdomen. But after that, nobody, they say gang related, they like, nobody spoke. So Little Rodney, if you know the truth, speak up. Leo, before I go around, do you want to add anything else? I'll come back to you.
I got to hear what everybody else said because I'm still processing, trying to put this thing together. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot of illegality. And I'm very puzzled why using the term RICO and in the TVPA all throughout this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing criminal or are we doing civil?
Listen, smack to you. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, the kids grew up in this nonsense. So Justin was reckless that night. But I believe they all got Diddy qualities. The boys.
And I'm going to say this too. I feel like everyone throughout this alleged criminal organization, through the defendants are culpable, as well as the victims are still victims in this. And I think that Rodney per se is a victim. I don't really read that in the document. I don't really read that. I realize he witnessed a lot of illegalities. I feel like he was subjected to abuse. But he left and came and went. He did not stay the whole. He wasn't in chains. He wasn't in chains. Do I feel like there's a whole bunch of victimization that he elaborately described in his claim? It was people were victimized through and through in this thing. He is a victim in the sense of he did not get paid his money for what he worked for. Was he assaulted? I don't know if you call it assault, but he was in some very uncomfortable situations that kept on going back to get his money. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm questioning it. I want to hear what everybody else has to say. Enlighten me.
Yes. So, Elite Leo, I'm feeling this. I had said this the other day. Is he moving that money? Because it's about to be no money. So Justin was there, but what did he do, Little Rod? Come on now. We need Little Rod to talk to us a little more. Nothing. Justin is naming the lawsuit because Diddy has, I think, transferred some of his finances into his name.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Come on, y'all. Talk to us. Katrina, you're out. Are you there, Katrina? Okay, go ahead. Katrina, I can't hear you. I'm gonna move forward and come back when you got your sound together. Felicia, you're up.
Okay, and thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Leo, because I'm in the same position you are in, and there's just so much information out here, whether we want to accept it as factual or not. I'm the person that believes that when someone puts it in writing and they put it up in a public institution, when we talk about the courts or whatever, that needs to be respected. I agree with you, Leo. I don't know if this is criminal, if this is civil. There's a lot of stuff in this. But I do firmly believe that if 10% of it is true, and I do believe that Mr. Jones was not compensated, Mr. Combs eventually will have to make some compensation. Traditionally, people hope to come to some kind of agreement, let's say within a year, 18 months. With Mr. Combs, it's decades. And so we can say you can win, but will you still get paid? It's difficult to say. So, Diva talked about Rodney's background. Yes, he does go into detail about all that he saw. He gives us photos. He gives us lots of details. I agree. Rodney, the first time you were able to make it home, you should have stayed home. I absolutely agree. But on the surface of what we're reading and what's coming together, this is the 7th lawsuit against Mr. Combs. Yes, there are many things that he says in here that we already know. One of those things are that, one, you don't get paid. Two, Mr. Combs doesn't wear clothes. Three, Mr. Combs is always under the influence. Four, there's always some kind of party going on. Doesn't matter what time, what day of the week. There's always some substance. I meant to look that up, Diva, on one of these pages. The list of substances that Mr. Jones speaks about that he's carrying around in this fanny pack. I mean, this may come across as petty to some, but he didn't give us a picture of this fanny pack. And I want to see what it looks like. So with that as a piece, I'd like to introduce to everyone the defendant, Christina Corum. In this lawsuit, Mr. Jones says that she is the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. As Diva said, there are tons of people outlined, and I mean outlined. There's a picture and their home addresses all in this document. Okay, so she's one of them. So you're going to say, well, who's this Christina Corum? So she's the house manager. She is the one. I don't know, Diva, can you show that photo when he's out there on Star Island?
You know what? That one. Okay, let me look that. Let me make sure there's no addresses with that one. Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, let me look at the hard copy.
No, keep talking. I'll look for it.
It's page 29.
Okay.
So the day after Mr. Combs settled this lawsuit, there was some footage that TMZ showed where he's out there on Star Island and he's looking distressed and he's holding his head in his hands. And there's a woman out there in a white robe. And yep, thank you, Diva. That's the woman. Her name is Christina Corum. The reason why she grabbed my attention is because she has been mentioned in two previous lawsuits. The one by his chef, who I have failed to remember her name, and the cousin of Kim Porter, the one who was the nanny. So Mr. Jones says, according to him, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute pow-pows from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, LA, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all Black. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled, he witnessed defendant Corum, that's that woman, openly order her assistants to keep Mr. Combs, quote unquote, high off gummies and pills. Defendant Corum required all employees, from the butler, the chef, to the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch or a fanny pack filled with the Coca-Cola, whatever, the GHB, the ecstasy, the marijuana, the gummies, and Tucci. I think you could show that picture, Diva, on page 30. A pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and the CC. Okay, it was important to defendant Corum to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready when he asked for it. So she ordered ex-workers and professional women, ex-workers from Mr. Combs. She ordered and distributed this ecstasy, this CC, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to him, Mr. Combs, and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in all of his homes, LA, NYC, Miami. On multiple occasions, Ms. Corum forced Mr. Jones to carry around such things. And as chief of staff, Ms. Corum was instrumental in organizing and executing, as Leo talks about, those RICO enterprises. She had the following individuals execute the following RICO enterprises. And she goes on to name some names, of which I will not recite on this YouTube. And then he goes on to show pictures. So why did I choose this piece to talk about at this time? Because as we have been following as a group all of these suits, this woman keeps coming up. And she comes up when people are forced to leave the job. That's the best way I can put it. So whether you resigned or you allegedly get fired, these previous lawsuits talk about how people got set up. If I'm not mistaken, the nanny was told by Ms. Corum that she found a watch in the garbage. It was going to be thrown out. Did she want this watch? And she said, sure, I want the watch. And then she was let go. And it is said, this is what she said in a lawsuit, that Mr. Combs put it out that she was fired for theft. So there's these things that come into play when you're not working out. I think Mr. Jones realized that his inability to have a contract, to set in motion an agreement as to what he would do, getting his money up front, seeking out the assistance of a good lawyer, a great lawyer. He failed to do all of that. And then he's not getting paid. I'm going to guess probably a month in, he realizes he isn't going to get paid. This is when we're coming out of that whole C-19 thing. And he decides he's going to do his own documenting, because when he doesn't get his money, this is what he's going to do. But do I think that this suit has no legitimacy? Absolutely not. I believe it does. I believe it falls in between lawsuit 1, 3, 5, 7. It adds substance to the others. And he's going to have to, Mr. Jones is going to have to figure out what he's going to do going forward. If I'm not mistaken, Diva, he's supposed to be in hiding. He's in hiding.
He's in hiding.
He's in hiding. Are we surprised? No. No, we're not. Yeah, but I'll let others go and I'll come back again. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. So let me just go back because I think I'm safe. I always have to check because he has a lot of pictures in here. So this was the pow that happened in the studio. Mr. Jones immediately went in a state of shock and feared that he would be pow next. Mr. Jones generally believed that he would be pow through the door due to how close he was. After the pow ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and J. Combs exited. G, that's the person that got pow, was laying on the restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg hip area. Everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid to G, Mr. Jones dropped everything, ran to G, and immediately began placing pressure on G's pow wound to his stomach. As he was applying the pressure on his stomach, Mr. Jones realized that G was gushing blood from another area near his leg/hip. He decided to lift G and placed him on the toilet. Mr. Jones asked the crowd to call the ambulance. Mr. Jones lifted G and brought him to the ambulance at the studio's front. Well, he's strong, little Rodney. Or maybe G is just tiny. But in the earlier document, he said G was pretty tall. So I guess little Rodney is just Superman. At this time, Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs and Justin disappeared to another part of the studio. Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the pow. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was pow standing outside the studio by a drive-by selling. He left, but before he left, he told he told little Rodney, don't say nothing, say this. So he put this in as evidence. This is what I showed you earlier, where it was on the news, the local news, but they claim it didn't happen. It was a drive-by, whatever. Okay. This I think I could show. He shows that this is the pictures that prove it happened in the studio and not as a drive-by. So let me be clear. I'm not confused that little Rodney saw things. I'm not shocked by the things he saw. But I'm confused as to what is little Rodney doing here. Are you talking because you didn't get paid? Do you want Diddy to face some type of criminal charges? If not, why didn't you and Tyrone go to the popo? I'm confused. Wayne, you're up.
I have a little different spin on this. Now, I was reading in the chat, and somebody, and I don't know if it was true, said the reason Diddy ain't been to jail because he managed to turn all these criminal type cases into civil cases, so he can pay the people off. Okay, and I think it's a big money grab, and I tell you why. Not so much on this gentleman's part, but what I'm saying, I'm sure Diddy got the best lawyers that money can buy. Okay. And when somebody wants, if they're making a suit against him, they know if another lawyer who I'm sure is going to take it, because I'm sure this man doesn't have the money to pay another lawyer, but these other lawyers come in because they're dealing with a case with potentially a big payoff. And I just kind of think at some point, the lawyers kind of meet head, says, look, we don't want this to turn into criminal, and this is like a big money grab, and it's enough for everybody. You may not get as much as I get, but you're going to get something. And if this Jones guy wants some money, they said, look, man, we can get you this right here. Or the other lawyer talks to the other lawyer and says, look, we have all this evidence. Okay, look, let's just shut this guy up so this money, this information doesn't get, because all the information could be so detrimental. It's like if we can shut him up and get this information. So I think it's a big money grab. I think these lawyers, Diddy got millions and millions of dollars. And if they can get themselves just a couple, what if they lose? It could be a lose. Look, okay, we'll take the fall, but you still gonna get paid. I know it sounds crazy, but these crazy things just come to me. It sounds crazy, but it just sounds like a big money grab, and it's enough out there for everybody. And it seems like everybody's trying to get a piece of it. Oh, shoot, he did this to me. If I get $1 million, just to shut up, I'll be fine. That's just my thoughts.
I hear you. Let me just add a little bit more before I come to you, Tay-Tay. So the reason why he added this is because he's suing for 30 million. And he added this story because he's saying he wouldn't be traumatized if Diddy's security at that studio would have did better, because he's saying nobody should have been allowed to get in the studio with weapons. So he's saying the fact that either Mr. Combs and Jay Combs were allowed to enter the studio with pow-pows and those pow-pows were not confiscated by security is a clear breach of duty by Mr. Combs and all the defendants that he listed. He's saying as a result of this pow-powing, Little Rodney, is severely traumatized. Little Rodney now suffers from PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Now he's saying he was harassed by Diddy and essayed by Diddy the whole time he worked for Diddy. So he said throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of the buttocks by Mr. Combs. So again, I say, if this happened to you, why did you keep going back? These events even took place in LA, New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. In addition to the unsolicited, unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. He said, I'm a heterosexual Christian man. For 1 second right there, you're a heterosexual Christian man. You find yourself in the throes of darkness and you stay. But I'll continue.
But I saw that too, Diva. The wording, I'm a heterosexual Christian man. I mean, yes, continue.
Okay. Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and expressed his discomfort to Mr. Combs, the chief of staff, Christina. Okay, so KK responded to Mr. Jones' complaint with, Sean will be Sean. KK also attempted to downplay Mr. Combs' groping of Mr. Jones' buttocks in front part as friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. Okay, so despite on several occasions, Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around his house naked, KK would say, "Okay, I'm leaving now," and she would disappear. Now he's mad at KK because he's saying that she's complicit and she's part of the problem. Sir, so you have no responsibility in this? If my boss give me something that I don't want to do, I say, hold on. So no, he has no responsibility in this. You couldn't leave and never come back. So he's saying that Mr. Jones believes that KK aided and abetted Mr. Combs' essay of him and was working for Mr. Combs to help groom him into accepting this homosexual relationship. Through these sexually deviant acts, one would say Mr. Combs has a pattern or practice of engaging in such acts. The ongoing conduct shows that Mr. Combs cannot be rehabilitated. So here he is. I'm going by what this man said. He a whole Christian. And now you want to tell us who can and cannot be rehabilitated. Can you be rehabilitated? You didn't leave. Tay, you're up.
If you was a Christian, you wouldn't say and wouldn't do all that stuff right there. A real Christian man had to sworn his life to the Lord and to the God and Jesus, all that stuff right there. But no, you sell your soul to the devil, the Lucius, and all that stuff right there too. And no, I will tell you, no, I ain't gonna stay here while you do that, all that stuff. You know what I'm gonna do right here to you, and you do that to me? Yeah, you see this? I will spray you in your eye and everywhere on your body. I'm gonna use a weapon and everything in the house. You do think about it, touch me right there. No. The word is saying N-O. When somebody's telling you the word N-O, you stop. No, you just keep going and going and going until you never hear somebody say there. I hope his buddy gonna be locked up forever, Diva, forever.
Forever.
I feel bad for baby love right there because, like I said before, she gonna see all this stuff right here about her dad and her brother too. Well, the tree didn't fall from the apple because, hello, Junior is following his father's footsteps. And this one, my kid right here, Diva, you better leave out, take away my kid away from his evil father, the sperm donor father right there. I'm not gonna let you turn my child to like that right there. No, I'm not. You better leave out, lock your butt up to the jail, and I'm gonna use the what's that thing that you have to make sure nobody come to your house, the restraining order.
Yes, come on now.
You better believe I'm gonna have my chihuahua, my husky dog right here, and any kind of big dogs I'm gonna have, and gonna tear your butt up right there. And until you scream like a girl, like, like there. You believe I said, get his butt right there until you stop screaming. I'll tell them stop right there. And may have God have mercy on your soul, Puff Daddy, Diddy, brother, whatever you call your name these days. I hope you serve in time for life, forever. That's my dog right there.
Thank you, Tay Tay. I appreciate you. Yeah, so little Rodney had a lot to say, and like we said, it wasn't really organized. He brings in a lot of names of people that I'm not quite sure how he felt. He didn't name them as part of the defendants, but he names them in this case, and it makes it really salacious, right? So he said Mr. Combs attempted to groom him into engaging in, same gender sex. I'll say it that way, right? So Mr. Combs was aware that Mr. Jones looked up to and idolized music producers Stephen Aaron Jordan, Stevie J. Now I'm only bringing this in because this was Little Rodney said itself. And this is what's going to happen when he has this jury trial and he got the pit bull lawyers from Diddy. You call yourself a Christian, but then you want to say you idolize Stevie J. Sure. Listen, and I'm an amateur at this thing, and I can see how they're gonna drag him across the coals. Shouldn't be idolizing another human being. But this is what Little Rodney said, not Diva. Stevie J is an American DJ, record producer, and television personality. Stevie J was a part of Bad Boy Records production team, The Hitman. In 1997, they tell what Stevie J won. Throughout the 90s, Stevie J produced several artists, including Mariah Carey, Tevin Campbell, The Notorious B.I.G., 112, Jodeci, Faith Evans, Jay-Z, and Eve. Stevie was one of the producers on the Love album. Mr. Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. This is what Mr. Lil Ronnie is saying. Mr. Combs went so far to share video of what Little Ronnie said was Stevie J having relations with another man. And why did he have to say without protection? I don't know what he was getting at with all of these details. This was done to ease Mr. Jones' anxiety concerning said relationships. According to Mr. Combs, this is normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it, he said. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones he had engaged in, said relations with an R&B singer. They redacted the name and Stevie J. Mr. Combs promised to make sure Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged. The following screenshots I cannot show. I'm not going to show. Let me stop showing for a minute. They blurred them out, but I'm still not going to pull that up. So see, this is my thing I have with Little Rodney. You added all this to give us what? To give us what? And you're naming these names to give us what? Are you just you? So I do know I did put the pieces of the puzzle together a little bit. So he's not suing. So when he's suing for this $30 million, he's suing not just for, and we'll get to, I think it's like 15 things that he's suing for. We'll get to that. But I guess that's why he's adding all of these stories to say he was groomed. And that's why part of this is, why he's adding these stories. Sebastian, you're up.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This man calls himself a Christian, yet he's airing out someone else's whole sins. Listen, disclaimer, I do not like P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever his name is. Whichever one. You can pick whatever one you want to. I don't like him. But I have to call it like it is. This is a money grab. This man is trying to get money from Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, whatever. He's trying to get money from him. And I will say this as well. We all stood with Cassie because Cassie's a victim. Agreed 100%. Cassie is a victim, but even victims themselves can participate and help and enable criminals. And Cassie was the Ghislaine for Diddy. If you are engaging and bringing these people to FOs, it's you are partaking in said crime with said individual, in my opinion. I've read the lawsuits. I was reading everything while you guys were going through all this. This is taking pictures and stuff like Lil Rod, it's not gonna look good for you. I just want to let that be known. It's not gonna look good for you. Even after this lawsuit, you probably will never find a job again, ever, in the industry. Ever. No one will trust you. No one will have there is no decorum here at all within this lawsuit. And Tyrone Blackburn, I've heard your name too many goddamn times in entertainment. Too many times I've heard you. I remember hearing him on the Wendy show. Vet your clients. Vet your clients. Vet them. Have them give you the story very well. You should have fire your paralegals. They failed you. Fire them. Get new ones. This was too much. This was too much. The way this lawsuit was worded, you would think this is a criminal charge that was happening, but this is just a civil suit. So my question is, my thing is, if you had all these evidence, you had all of this, you did not think of going to the authorities? You did not think of, this man is a criminal, I should cooperate with the authorities as the good Christian heterosexual man that I am? Did you not think, as the good Christian heterosexual man that you are, why am I sleeping in this man's house when I have a wife and kids? Did you not think these things? Did you not think these things? Mm-hmm. Listen, Lil Rod is looking for his little dollar and check. At this point, someone needs to create a GoFundMe for Lil Rodney, and he could get that money there. Because I'm just going to tell you, this is not going to go well for you, Lil Rod. And if I were you, well, you don't have money right now, but I'd leave the country. I'm just going to say that. I'd leave the country. Take the kids, go somewhere, and your wife, settle somewhere else.
Well, he really needs to go in the witness protection program.
He thinks he's going to go into a witness protection program?
No. I said he needs to.
Oh, he needs to, but civil suits don't get you that.
Listen. He knows enough. And see, first of all, I would have never just went to no lawyer first. I would have went to a couple police stations and see if somebody believed me. Matter of fact, I need to speak to the FBI.
Right.
I need to speak to the FBI, and I need to see if y'all going to put me in a witness protection program.
Change my name, change my social, change everything.
No, I can't. Then guess what? I'm good. I'm going to chuck this one up as a loss. Every now and then in life, all of us, I don't care if you're a celebrity or you're a regular person, we go through similar stuff. It's just different levels of it, right? There has been plenty of transactions that I make and deals that I'm like, you know what? Okay, my bag. I'm going to have to chuck that up as my loss, and I know better next time. You understand what I'm saying? You sat there and lived with somebody for a year. I told you right now, I don't care what job it is. I'm going to know up front. Do we get paid weekly, bi-weekly, twice a month? Because there's jobs like that, right? Where you get paid twice a month.
Or monthly too.
Or monthly too. But I'm going to get that cleared up. When am I getting my check?
That
And
part.
after 2 weeks, I don't get my check. If you supposed to, I'm not waiting for 3, 4, or 6 months or 7 months. I'm not sitting there without no check for that long. No, I'm going to take my piano. Matter of fact, if you so crazy, I'm going to leave my piano and all my equipment there too. My loss. My loss. But if I was in your Miami, first of all, if he did it in his New York apartment, his New York home, he touched you. Do you think it's going to be different when you get to Florida, Miami, Virgin Islands on a yacht? It's not. So I don't need to keep coming around so you can keep violating me. It happened in New York. I'm good. Next time you will be asking everybody, where Little Rod at? Down with the FBI with a new name and a passport.
New social security number, new everything.
Living on a farm somewhere milking cows. And I wouldn't even, in my new identity, I wouldn't even say, they wouldn't even know no. So hold on one second. Let me just, I think I could show this. I looked at it, all is clear. So he added pictures. You was with this man, the good Christian man with a whole family. You with this man on Thanksgiving Day. They still forcing you to do things according to you. Go in bathrooms, put cocoa in your nose. Oh. And he's saying that young Miami's cousin, he said, tried to force him, come on him, did stuff to him in front of the people and wouldn't let up off of him. How many incidents are you going to let happen before you run and never come back? Savannah, you're up.
So we have all known that Sean Combs has been problematic ever since he made Dylon and the band cross the Manhattan, from Manhattan to the Brooklyn Bridge to go get that piece of cheesecake during that show. So none of this should be surprising to us, just how sinister and evil this man is. I've never been a fan of Puffy, whether it's as a man, as a person, or as an artist. I'm just not a fan of him. And I think we're getting lost in the salaciousness of this lawsuit here. I'm looking at it more of this is more than just civil. There are some actual federal charges that is named in this lawsuit here. If we break it down, Mr. Jones discovered that Puffy had cameras in every room of that house in Miami, which it honestly, it is true, which led him to believe that he had secret video recordings of the several people that he named in that lawsuit. And these, there were celebrities, politicians, and athletes. And upon information, it led him to believe that these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent. These individuals also, would read later, further on, also funded and assisted, and I apologize, Steve, I don't know what words we can and cannot say here, but the underage young girls. So there was a lot of sex trafficking going on. So there are real victims out there. They're faceless and nameless. I'm Mr. Jones. He was free to come and go. I'm not. He's going to get what he's going to get, and where Tyrone is, but I'm concerned about the young girls, because I've seen them flock around these clubs in Miami and as young as 13, 14, trying to get into these scenes where they see a celebrity and Puffy and his kids hang. They're really well known in the streets of South Beach, and these little girls do try to get into the club scene and get in there. So I'm a little familiar with what goes on down there, but I'm more concerned with the federal charges. According to 18 U.S. Code 1341, which is fraud and swindles, which is what Mr. Jones is claiming Puffy did. with the wire fraud, that is a United States Postal Inspection Code violation, which can leave him up to 30 years in jail and $1 million per violation. So he does face some real, and Miss Felicia, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm looking at. And that's what I was highlighting last night. But so there are some actual charges in here, which the FBI can look into. This is more than just a civil, somebody trying to do a money grab.
There's information. There's no charges in the lawsuit, right? It's information in there that can lead to possible charges, right? But
correct.
See, the thing,
yes.
The thing you have to understand, though, right, is that they repeatedly in all lawsuits say S workers, right? So the reason why he got S workers was for a reason, right? And I don't want to get too far off of that. And then the underage situation, you got to prove that. So Rodney, you was there. So you think just because he's telling it, he's not going to have no responsibility in said situation? You was there and you saying you saw these underage girls getting violated. And so I get to watch something happen for months. I didn't attend once. He's saying New York, Rodney's a dummy and so is his lawyer. So you're saying, and if I was Diddy lawyer, not because I want Diddy to get off, the man is sinister. But see, when you're going after someone like this, you can't have holes in the situation. You got to be rock solid, right? So here you're saying, so let me get this straight, little Rodney. You watched as young girls got violated in New York on a yacht, the Virgin Islands, and all that. You were so scared, but you lost your fear when said person was on the floor, and you know that two of the people that you were so scared of perhaps did this to said person, but you removed fear at that point. You was covering holes. Then you picked the person up, put them on the toilet. Then you took them outside. You know they're doing wrong, but you go put on a bad boy's cap. You go to the club and you dialing S workers numbers. He got to miss me with the foolery. But the biggest foolery that he got to miss me with is you think it's okay. We should go lock Diddy up. But it's okay that you watch this go down with some underage girls. Ronnie, you got to miss me with the nonsense. It's the foolery. If you told me you saw this in New York and you never went back, holla at me, Rodney. But you said New York, the Virgin Islands, this trafficking, and this whole time you had so much fear, but you was able to go and come back. And when you left, I hear no story in that lawsuit about when you left, they was threatening you to come back. That's what Cassie said. Diddy would go send people to go see where she was at, and they would tell her, you got to go back. Little Rodney said none of that. But yet you went back. So you was complicit in the young girls, underage, this, that, and the other. You carried the fanny pack, feeding this man with that. You saw these men in black, and you saw exchanges of this, that, and the other. You knew about cameras and all of that. And you do nothing? So yeah, he said a whole lot of salacious stuff that can get Diddy locked up, cleaned up, and all of that. But you see, he did it so damn messy that they're going to be able to debunk all this stuff. And this I know for sure. He ain't going to get nobody to collaborate, because in this lawsuit too, he already got people calling him clowns and a liar that were there. Diddy already got people to say, it was me and I'm 30. You got to level up, Rodney. If you going against a monster, a beast, a giant, he got all this stuff. You call this one, you call that one. You think those power, they've been doing this for decades. You got pictures. Great, you say all of that, and then they say too, don't destroy nothing. Unless Diddy's straight stupid, which I don't know. I would have pulled every camera down in my house and destroyed it. Who's going to come up against me? But go ahead, Savannah.
I'm good, Diva.
Okay. Okay. Where was I? Dustin, you're up. Oh, Katrina, I'll come to you in a minute. Okay, I don't hear Dustin. Okay,
Can you
go
hear me now,
ahead.
David? Can you hear
yes,
me now?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Sorry, I was trying to get off of mute.
Okay.
I think this whole situation is very sad, and I hope whatever needs to happen, and I hope somebody gets some justice here. This is getting to be too out of hand here, and we're going to have to get some justice for somebody. This is just getting to be too sad.
You are correct, Dustin. It's very sad. It's very sad. What needs to happen though is, it almost reminds me of what's going on with Andy Cohen right now.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
I don't. Do I think that a lot of what do I think a lot of what you call it is saying is perhaps true? Yeah, but do you see how every housewife is coming out saying we stand by Andy?
I see it. I see it every day.
Yeah, they standing by Andy. The same way these people are standing by Andy, a lot of these people are going to come and stand by Diddy.
Yep, and it's already happening already, Diva.
It is. It is. Okay, hold on. Julius, you're
Especially
up?
since he said that there's politicians involved. Oh, this is definitely not going to go well.
It's not. Somebody's trying to get in, but we're we're jam packed backstage. Go ahead, Julius. You're up.
I do believe something happened to this man, but he's so dang inconsistent with his sentiments. It's hard for me to have sympathy for him. If he would have stuck to one certain thing and do it coherently, I would have rocked with him. I would have said, I salute you, my brother, staying strong. You got this. But your story is already being debunked and discredited. Everybody is trying to ride on Cassie's coattails, but like we say up here, and I'm giving Diva her flowers on this one, silence is golden. Cassie moved in silence. And it wasn't until after she already filed. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't until after she already filed her lawsuit. And she made one statement, and that was it. That was it. And when her lawsuit was unsealed and when we found out what happened to her, it was debaucherous and it was egregious. I don't have that same sympathy for this person, but I do believe something did happen, but he's so inconsistent and incoherent, it's hard for me to connect with him.
Thank you, Julius. He has consistency, but the problem is he's naming stuff and bringing up stuff and naming people and trying to prove stuff, but a lot of it proves that, okay, well, what it's a lot. I'll say that it's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I'm offended by this person mentioning Usher. Usher's like he one of Diddy's victims. Are you entertained? I'm with you. I'm with you. From when he was a child, extra trauma for a clown to get a check because I'm with you though. I feel that way too. Unfortunately, I feel Usher. I feel Justin Bieber. So you're naming people. It's a mess. It's messy. It's messy. It's messy at best. That's my feelings on it. Uncle Jay, I don't know what it is. You're in the chat there. I don't know what it is, but I feel like you want to throw a different perspective on this thing. So let me know if you want to come up. Because I'm seeing you and I'm feeling something. Like you want to throw a different perspective in this thing. But let me know if you want to come up. Uncle Jay, okay? That we didn't hear from Cassie to this day. She didn't throw around all this other stuff. Diva, now Meek Mill is spiraling on social media over being, yeah, he is. Because I think, so here's the thing. You want to know why? Because what little Rodney's saying is true. There's a lot of grooming. But see, what we got to understand and throw in there is you have to accept that you allow things. In this lawsuit, he says himself, Diddy was promising me album of the year or producer of the year. He was promising me his island, Star Island. So he was promising you things. And in my mind, you release all your integrity over things. I'm good. If you are trying to violate me, you couldn't promise me a pocketbook, a raise, a shoe, an award, nothing. And listen, I'm only bringing this up because this man said it himself. You said you was based, you're a Christian man and this and that. Where's your faith? Because you felt you had to stay there and get something from Diddy. I said this before here before, and I say it to you again. I'm good in my studio apartment if that's where I had to be. But I'm going to be in that studio apartment with my integrity intact and not having, or go ahead, Leo, because I see you, I feel you want to say something.
No. I'm right there with you. I'm just riding the train. I thought I had something to say, and then you said it. So I'm good.
So he promised him, I got to get to the page. He kept saying Diddy was promising me Star Island. Now, you a whole fool if you think this man is going to give you Star Island.
But you really believe that? I can't.
And then even if he did give it to you, you wouldn't be able to afford to live there, maintaining or nothing else. You have got, like, come on now. Yes, I did say it. Money is king. And you lost your mind over it. And now you have buyer's remorse. Because you see at the end, you did all of that and you got played. But he got a whole bunch of artists that came before you that was saying they never got paid. This is way, you did this thing in a time period where you had enough evidence against Diddy that you should have said no. I'm good, I'm busy. I can't come do not a song on a Love album. And at best, I can send you something recorded. This is the digital age. Do a Zoom. You stayed at this man's house. You kept going back. You was allowing them just... I'm going to shut up. Anybody else want to say anything?
I do feel like, though, Diva, I say that he was a victim of his own ambition, right? He say he a Christian man. He is a heterosexual man, and all these things went on right up under his nose, and he kept going back. Why would he keep going back? Simply because he felt like if he suffered through the abuse, allegedly, and at the end of the day, because he was okay with not getting paid. Don't misunderstand what he's saying. He was okay with not getting paid until the album came out and he was supposed to get all of these accolades. He was supposed to be, I'm gonna make sure you're gonna get album of the year and all this other kind of dumb stuff. He was okay with not getting paid. He wanted to be in the air of a person like Diddy in the music industry. He wanted that. He was okay with it until he figured out it wasn't going to happen. Not only was it not going to happen in being in the verified air of the music industry titans that he wanted to move into, because he knew the people that work for Diddy didn't get paid. He already knew that. That is public knowledge. So all the things he witnessed, all the things he seen, it was him saying, okay, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to do this. Even if I don't get paid, even if I see debauchery every single day, even if I get assaulted, I'm going to come through with this, because at the end of the day, it's going to be these accolades and it's going to be this fame. Deep down, really, the reason why he didn't go to the police is because he is culpable himself. If he got pictures of other people doing other things, then Diddy got footage of him doing some stuff too.
You better talk about it.
Preach it louder for the choir to hear.
Also, though, he said there was an incident in February 2023. Now, he already knew that after a while, all allegedly the drinks at these parties were laced with something. So he talks about an incident where he feels like he got a drink that something was in it, because he said he got the drink, then he started to feel woozy. And the next thing you know, he woke up with the workers in the bed next to him, and he feels like he had no clothes on, and he feels like he was pretty much violated.
Lies.
It's a lot. Anybody else?
Yeah, Diva. I feel that like you said, these things happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
But what he should have did was, but did he have cops and everything like that? But he should have went to an attorney. You got the evidence, and like Leo said, you was gonna be accused too, because you was accomplice, because you was helping him do it. You was there with it. You saw it all. It's just like if I go rob a store, you there with me. You're not robbing the store, but by you being with me, you my accomplice. So everything that Diddy was doing, he was there to see it and to witness it. So they're saying the same thing. That's like with Gene. I mean, and then the thing of it is, he probably was scared out of his mind, and he probably was thinking like, okay, what I don't understand, was his family in L.A. or where did he stay at? Was his house there, or was he from another state? Because that's the only way I can see you staying with this man to get this thing off the ground. You know what I'm saying? I can see you staying there because you work on the album. That takes a lot of time and stuff like that. So I can see you staying there for that. But if you were staying in the same city, I would have went home and came back. And if you seeing all this stuff go down, you seen this man getting pow, and maybe there was an intimidation thing on him, because like he said, Diddy is a powerful person, because how did he get the powers in the club, him and his son? So obviously he knows what type of power Diddy holds. And maybe, like I said, maybe he was scared to come out. But then you're not coming out with like one lawsuit. You're coming out with two, and you combining them. So you're confusing the people. They don't know where to go with this lawsuit, because you putting so much stuff in it. You got a lot of stuff in it. And I feel what happened to him. I mean, I really do. But you putting a lot of stuff into one lawsuit. So you all over the place. You saying this, you got the pictures and everything. You got everything to back up what you're saying. So I don't know whoever Tyrone is, you need to call somebody else, because Tyrone ain't doing you no justice. Tyrone actually doing you more harm than what you're supposed to be doing. And then you out there talking. And then you name dropping. You name dropping because you want people to feel that what you're saying is the truth. And it probably is the truth. But you shouldn't be name dropping, because you don't know who these people got working for them and what can happen to you. Even though you hiding, somebody might still snitch and say where you at or whatsoever. So you didn't have to do all that name dropping. You could have just left that out of there. Then you went back to, like I said, you was probably there, living the high life, doing all this type of stuff and everything like that. But the thing of it is, if you're a heterosexual man, you should have said, "No, man, I'm good with that. I mean, that's what he does or whatsoever. But I'm good. We're here to do this record. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. That's it." Even though they saying Diddy's so powerful whatsoever, but you saying you're a Christian man, so God is more powerful than the man.
You better
So
talk.
you should have did that. You should have been sticking to your faith, because who's more greater than God? Nobody. If you're a heterosexual man and that's not something that you want to do, yeah, I know you want to get your name and stuff out there, but it could have been other ways. You could have stuck to your values and said, look, Diddy, I know you partying whatsoever, but that ain't me. And like he said, somebody he drunk a drink. Maybe they did give him GHB, because when you got GHB in your system, you're knocked out. You don't know what's going on. You wake up, it's a whole different scenario. It's a whole different outlook. Because I knew that guy from Max Factor that had that he was the heir to Max Factor. That's what he was doing to women. He was giving them GHB. The women didn't even know he was recording them whatsoever. He was Ring them while they was asleep. But he got a lot of stuff in his thing that Diddy could be going away for a long time. Yes, he should have took that to the FBI instead of suing. And see, Diddy probably told him, once you finish this album, you gonna get paid that way. But yet still, I'm gonna show you the highlight of it all. I'm gonna show you this, and maybe he never had the highlight. So he was going with Diddy because look, it's the stuff that Diddy can show him. But once he showed me the stuff that you showing me, and I don't agree with that, no, bro, I'm good. I'm good. It's just like a person that smoke weed. Just because you smoke weed don't mean I'm finna do it. I'm good. That's not my forte. That's yours. But you participated in it. You put yourself there. You know, you put yourself, you seeing all this undercover stuff going down. You seeing the sex trafficking and whatsoever. You seeing this, but you never came out and said something. It's the same thing with Gene them and all that. Y'all saw what was going on with Cassie. But y'all did come out before Cassie did. I'm not gonna lie, Gene did come out before Cassie. And then Cassie came out and with everything that she said, he collaborated with it. But y'all still seen this happen. You seen Diddy smacked up his mama. You said you talked to Diddy, but you seeing Diddy smacking up Cassie. You seeing Diddy stomp this woman infant out of her stomach. You seeing all this, and this man still get away. And y'all supposed to be men because Diddy trying to be a fake gangster, and y'all allowed this stuff to happen. So, like I said, with Rod, whatever, you should have did it the right way. You got all this evidence and whatsoever. You should have did it the way that you know you was gonna get paid, because see, doing that name dropping stuff, they gonna consider you a snitch. And you snitching now, but you didn't snitch then. So we don't know how to even look at you. And it's sad though, because really and truly, if Diddy did all the things that he said Diddy did and it did to him, you had a lawsuit. But they're gonna look back and say, well, you lying by this, you lying by that. You Diddy got those type of lawyers, because I'm quite sure he don't. Diddy got these type of lawyers that gonna tear that whole lawsuit down. They're gonna tear it down. Because you didn't do it the right way. Your lawyer didn't even do it the right way. That's all I got to say, y'all.
Thank you, Katrina. Are you entertained? Thank you for the super chat. The man sounds as if he was traumatized by Diddy not giving him what he promised. He was complicit with everything until he felt slighted. That's how I'm feeling as I'm reading this. Right? And again, to me, there is he talks about a lot of criminal activity, but this criminal activity should have been brought to the law. Go ahead, Felicia.
Thank you, Diva. You know, I don't know if Savannah really fully got to express, but I do stand and I agree with her that I believe, and thank you, my co-counsel, you were fantastic. This is two separate lawsuits put in one bundle. And I believe the part Savannah was talking about is the first clause of action, where it talks about the RICO, the wire fraud, the transferring of money. Leah opened up with that. I understand, and I think I've shared with many of you before, there's a difference between a good lawyer and a great lawyer. Mr. Blackburn is neither. He doesn't have the same skills as a Doug Wigdor. So you go ahead, co-counsel, you got it right. He didn't have the right lawyer. He didn't present his issue. I worked 15 hours a day on this song. I did this and that. We were in the studio. I went blah, blah, blah without food and water. I wasn't compensated. I failed to do X, Y, Z. I understand. But I'm looking at this in terms of the other 6 lawsuits and how this is woven in with the other stories. Yes, a lot of it is duplicated, but the truth is the truth. So we repeat, you hear it again. However, in Jane Doe's lawsuit, she's in that lawsuit. It's the first one that discusses the Black mafia family coming out of Detroit. And when I did some research into that, they talked about the money laundering. They talked about the trafficking of human beings. This second part of this lawsuit that has nothing to do with his publishing, his work, his labor, is going into details about that. And when Savannah mentioned that, yeah, now this is federal, this is serious business, and maybe Mr. Blackburn, because I know this is going to sound a little off, folks, but even the layout of this document looks like two different teams of people did it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like one person did it.
Disjointed.
So when I'm just talking about the surface of it, it's not consistent throughout the way it's laid out. So I'm wondering if Mr. Blackburn is working with another counsel, and they decided to throw these things into this suit to begin to tighten up some of the gaps, to bring in additional information for whatever lawsuit is coming next week. Yes, Diva, when she opened, she gave us the whole history of all of the issues Mr. Combs has successfully gotten rid of. Let's not be fooled here, folks. It's not just law enforcement. It's judges, politicians,
DAs. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's all of that. And so when Savannah was expressing what she was saying, I'm listening, because I'm taking that piece in. Okay, so you've got all these people on the payroll, but do you have federal people on the payroll now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He been had it. And so that's why for decades, this man feels like he's living his real life.
But tell me, Diva, who on the federal level do you think he has paid off?
I don't know these people names, but do I think he does? I'm telling
you. Institutions. I'm wondering. I'm going to stay on the sidelines.
I'm thinking straight up to the FBI, and not because of him himself, because at these FO parties, everybody who's anybody has been there, depending upon where he's having and where he's at, and especially when they're held on that Star Island, where everybody who even lives there is way above the average level, and if you wasn't, you couldn't live on Star Island. So what I'm saying is that they've been knew this man was, the people come and he's getting narcotics at the highest level, in my opinion.
Okay, but did you hear what Felicia asked? She said,
I did hear what she asked, and my answer to that is not necessarily so much his connection. It's the people that are at those parties with him who has the connection that is protecting him on those higher levels, because they get down with him like that. And just like with the Epsteins and the Weinsteins, they don't want those names out. Listen, this man is connected to Clive Davis. Clive Davis came out and said Diddy is not disinvited to the pre-Grammy party. Now,
but I was focusing on the states in which he did these things. It was California, it was Florida, it was New York, and the Virgin Islands. And I'm agreeing with you, Diva, he has those states sold up. The attorney general, the federal attorney general, is appointed. And so in those particular states is where he has the federal attorney general sold up, in those particular states. It said it in the lawsuit. It's California, Florida, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Listen, so let me throw this in there. We're just now hearing about this. I stand 10 toes down on this. The lawsuits we know about is the lawsuits we know about. I'm 10 toes down that there's many things that went down where there's people that say, I'm good. You fixed up my broken arm. I don't need a dollar, nickel, dime, because they seen for their own eyes how sinister the man is. So I'm saying that right now, this man had the ability to put somebody outside and say that that thing never happened inside. And if it wasn't for little Rodney, we wouldn't have saw the inside pictures, right? And then you had Tiffany Wren, who came out and said, you got to get buzzed and buzzed and buzzed in. So there's no way somebody could have ran from outside. Listen, what little Rodney is saying, I'm 100% in agreement. Did that happen? Yeah, it happened.
Absolutely.
But has it been happening? Yeah, it's been happening. If this man could go beat up at UCLA, if he could beat up a coach at UCLA that did not look like us and get away with it,
talk, Diva.
Do I think that this man got power that's way above that we don't know? Hell yeah, I do. If he went and beat up a brother, I'd be like, I remember when they said about the coach, and then the next thing, it wasn't that bad. It was a kettlebell. Does anybody know a kettlebell? Drop a kettlebell on your toe and you done. They said he used a kettlebell to beat this man up. And so when we say, oh, he threw this in there, it was dangerous and a little reckless because he still got enough ties for everybody to debunk that. You saw men in coat. They're going to say, listen, you talking some men in black stuff, whatever. This man, I took back the history of what his father was, right? His father was a whole gangster with Frank Lucas. Out of Diddy's own mouth, he said, in the streets of Harlem, the people will walk up to me, say, I know your dad. If anybody know low-level street pharmacists, got cred way after their family member who is at the top is long gone. They will tell the streets, don't touch that one. He belonged to so-and-so. When, what's his name? What is that guy? Apple. When he went in the witness protection program and he came out decades after, everybody that he was running with at the time was either out the game or whatever the case may be. People that wasn't even around when Alpo was doing it was talking about what Alpo did at that time and called them a snitch. Alpo thought in his mind, I could run these streets because that was 20 years ago. Well, he found out. Right there on 125th Street at the wee hours in the morning, he got. So what am I saying? I'm saying that Diddy out his own mouth said, even though my mother tried to tell me some other story, I already knew the truth because the people was rolling up to me saying, we know your name. We know your dad. So Diddy is his dad, but on a corporate level. That man is gangster. He will bust you upside the head. And even though his father was gone and he couldn't catch that from his father, it's in his DNA and his mother gave it to him. That's why I read that article. When that mother said they took your money, she wouldn't open the door and she said, go back and let them know who you are and get your money. And ever since then, Diddy has been wreaking havoc in the music industry. And if you don't do what he said, he gonna let you know. He told that exec after he filmed the video, I don't like the way I'm looking on that crucifix or whatever, take it out. They want to tell him, I already spent the money, the video's out there, whatever. He don't give a darn, take it out. You don't want to take it out, you're getting busted upside the head and then some. In my opinion, I'll let you talk, Felicia, but 1 second. In my opinion, in my thought process, he is going to come down, but it's going to be a long time coming, right? And it's going to have to be something so egregious. They're going to do them like they did Epstein and Weinstein. We can't save you. It's a wrap. But when it does come down and everybody is assured that this man won't ever see the light of day, we're going to hear about the dead bodies and we're going to hear about the overdoses and everything else. Listen, the legend out there is that to his own baby mama, which I won't be surprised, because he said to little Rodney, if my mother got to go, she gonna be gone. That's a dangerous person right there. But the street legend is he has something to do with Biggie. He has something to do with Tupac. He has something to do with his own baby mother. He has something to do with Sean Carr getting blown up. He has something allegedly to do with the surgeon that just ran off the road because he didn't like the way that he did Cassie's boobs. And so if y'all say to me, do I think he got high up? I think that thing runs so deep and so corrupt. And the reason why I really connected that to this, the last piece, and then I'll let you take Al B. Shore. Come on now. The list goes on and on and on and on. Listen, the woman that said that he pow her in the face at the club said for 24 years he still was harassing her.
Yeah.
24 years. So do I think his power goes high? Or it runs deep? All of a sudden, no, you ain't getting no ticket. You call this one, you call that one. I got the power. So much so that he's getting sloppy now, but he's getting real sloppy because that man allegedly has been hooked on the substances for the whole 40 years. Go ahead, Felicia.
Thank you. My point is every dog got their day.
I agree.
And this dog hired the dog's owners of international law. If there's one thing we know and we studied, he knows great lawyers.
Yes, he does.
And he hired Bobby Sternum to be his counsel. And she is a highly respected and seasoned trial lawyer who advocates for her clients both inside and outside the courtroom. She has built a reputation as a leading criminal defense lawyer, experienced in handling a wide variety of matters in federal and state court for individual and corporate clients. She is a recognized leader in the local and national criminal defense bar for litigating difficult and complex cases. She uses her courtroom and advocacy skills in New York and beyond. Among her notable criminal cases, Bobby has tried international organized crime and racketeering conspiracies, international terrorism offenses, international telemarketing fraud, capital murder, and interstate transport of pornographic media. She has represented federal defendants charged with death-eligible offenses as both lead and learn counsel. And she has persuaded the Attorney General of the United States to deauthorize a federal death penalty case. This woman is that woman, that great lawyer. And as Leo said the other night, he hasn't even been charged. But he got her. I am not disputing he's fully connected, but I say time is up. It's your day, and you're going to face it. And I believe this two-part criminal, uncriminal, civil complaint is lending support to these accusations that are to come sooner than later.
Yeah, melanated energy. Now, this I never heard. And who is Wolf? Is Justin Combs' real father. And Dudu took him just like he took Quincy from Albie Shore. Now, that I never heard. To me, Justin looks, oh, you said Justin. Okay, so see, I'm mixing Justin and Christian up. Okay, this I never heard. I don't know who is Wolf. I never heard that, but I could say wow to that. I know I don't know who that is. Wow. I don't know if he's going to get away with it this time because Letitia James and Alvin Bragg ain't playing. They can't afford to play with the foolery.
Well, I think Letitia James and Alvin Bragg could be in on it if they get a little, donation.
I don't think they can afford to play with it this time, because knowing that they have this huge case against Trump and all the political circus that is, and some of these alleged crimes took place in New York. Some of these potential charges will have to come in New York. And for it not to become a racial issue, Letitia, James, and Alvin Bragg will have to, they will have to go ahead and toe to toe, and they'll have to play a huge part in taking Puffy down, just like they'll take Trump down, because he hasn't till Friday to pay that fine. So,
and it's something called political
I don't think
capital, and they spent all their political capital on 45 in this moment. So if we go in after those trials of 45 and they got room left, political capital, because Diva keeps saying he is high. He got people paid up high up in political places. That takes up a lot of political capital to go after someone like Diddy. But I'm right there with Felicia when Felicia says that we're seeing two things being played out in this complaint. And what I would have preferred is that whomever it was that wrote up within Tyrone Blackburn's law office, who wrote up this complaint and put in the language of the things that was criminal, that they would have done two things. They should have filed criminal charges as well as civil charges. I would have appreciated that more than just putting it all together and sending it out there to the people, because the complaint, it's a good complaint. It was written well, in my opinion. The problem is it wasn't streamlined. They threw everything in the kitchen sink in the complaint. It should have been one or the other. Or if you want to do both, then do both. Then file criminally and file civilly.
Well, he can't say file criminally, right? You would have to bring it to the proper authorities. They would have to investigate it and see if they're going to charge Diddy with anything.
But that's what I'm saying. Do that process. I'm not saying that it will come forth. I'm just saying do that process.
I will say this. I think if anything, his downfall is going to be he's going to run out of money. He's going to run out of money and no longer be able to pay these people the way he was paying them. I think it's going to be similar to R. Kelly. When the money ran out, the people got to talking. Because before that, it wasn't done and see it. It wasn't my daughter. This, that, and the other. When he could no longer pay these people, the people got to talking. So, and because a lot of brands have left him, he's not getting that money on the level that he was getting it. And when you're no longer getting money, I explained it before, your bank account could be up here, but if nothing is keep coming in to keep it there, it's going to go down, down, down. I think once he runs out of money, that's going to be his downfall. Because he's no longer going to keep being able to give those favors, those donations to the people that he was giving it to keep it all up there. He's not, I believe the dealers that give the substances were getting paid well. And after a while, that's not going to be able to work, but he's going to have to keep up with the substances because his body is used to it, right? This thing is layered. It is layered. It has a lot of layers to it. But if I had to take a guess, I'm going, the money is going to be his downfall. He's not going to have enough after a while because there's too many people that was getting paid everywhere. And on top of that, he's used to spending a whole lot of money because he never had to worry before because the money was just coming left, right, left, whatever. But they said when Cassie happened, 13 brands dropped them. Then came Revolt TV. Then came this, then came that, then came everything, right? He's sinister. But when you're going after somebody like this, you got to be strategic. I do believe that already there is some federal evidence against him. And I believe when it first came out with Cassie and somebody slipped up and said, oh, they got a case. And then all of a sudden the people at the NYPD was like, we don't know what y'all talking about. There's no case. There's no this. There's no that. Right. There's already files on Diddy. They already got all the evidence that they need. But what happens is, to me, when you're this deep in, everybody's in bed with each other. You got me, I got you. So I was saying to Felicia earlier, I really think the way this part of this is going to come down to part of it is going to come down they want it to seem like none of your people that you was loyal to for 4 decades, darn near, none of your people you was loyal to turned you in. It got so bad that it came from here, it came from there, and we couldn't block it. That's just my thought process on it. That's just my opinion. I believe that when the people start talking, it's going to be so much blood on his hands. He's not going to be able to be saved, right? And when I say blood, the blood that we know of allegedly is Tupac, is Biggie, allegedly, it's Kim Porter, allegedly. There's so many things that, allegedly the breadcrumbs lead back to Diddy. And as we can see, he don't got no problem playing around with the pow-pows, because you see this man got pow-powed in the bathroom, and even the news, the local news, claim it must have been G-related, and we heard nothing about that after that. His ties run deep, and he knows it. But I don't think after a while, I don't think he's going to be able to afford it anymore. Anybody else before I close out this Diddy thing? I mean, he has a prayer at the end of this thing. I can't even go through this thing. What's interesting too is that they want a jury. They demanding a jury trial. That's interesting to me. I'm going to see how this thing plays out. I'm going to stay connected to it. Yeah. As per Suge Knight, let me see what they say here. He stated that Wolf was Justin's real father, and when they showed side by side, you were stunned. I gotta look up this Wolf. This is the first time. I appreciate the information. This is the first time I ever heard about it. But see, that would be another layer to this situation. Anybody else?
I do, Diva. Sure. When all his mighty empire gonna fall down, it still fall down. One way or another, his time is coming up.
And I do believe that Diddy will be brought down. But like you just said, Diva, people have to be strategic. That's why Cassie was so successful, because she was strategic, and she knew the power that this man has. And so I do believe that he will be brought down. Like the saying goes, what's done in the dark always comes to light.
Oh, wait, Jay, it's Gem. You don't have to send it to me. I see it, and good gosh almighty. So, who is Anthony Wolf Jones? Diddy's bodyguard and Justin Combs conspiracy claims surfaces online amid abuse lawsuits.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Dang.
Ooh.
Child, that
just
man
like
fun.
that man.
They look like twins. You can tell.
Well, this is my question. Is the bodyguard still alive?
No, he's not. So claims of Diddy's eldest son, Justin Combs, not being the former child, but that of Anthony Wolf Jones have spread like wildfire across social media platforms. This comes amid the rapper's third SA lawsuit Not only are fans speculating on this, but the singer's former bodyguard, Gene Dill, has spoken his piece about the controversy. Sean Diddy Combs, a fellow musician, Aaron Hall, have been accused of R-ing two women in the early 90s. This comes after the former faced an SA lawsuit from singer Cassie, and another case that was recently filed. A woman alleged that Combs SA'd her in 1991 when she was just a college student. Given the three legal filings, the article well examined. Sean claims, okay, for those unversed, Anthony Wolf Jones was Sean Combs' former bodyguard. The former worked for the latter during the infamous December 27, 1999 incident where Sean and rapper Shine allegedly powwowed a nightclub. Jones was charged with the criminal possession of a weapon in the second and third degree in the Manhattan nightclub trial, powwowing. Tragically, Jones was powwowed in November 2023. He was purportedly powwowed down outside a Buckhead, Atlanta nightclub after allegedly getting into an argument with an unidentified woman around 4 a.m. Justin Combs is a song of Whoop Diddy's head bodyguard back in the is a song. They got misspelled words in this day of Wolf had a major influencer and moved heavy and was not only her head of security but Puff advisor. According to Gene Dill's Puff previous bodyguard, he's been telling us they had a dispute. Details alleged dispute were unavailable online. I wasn't. He looks like him. But like I said, right? Well, we'll all know this is not Diddy DNA. We all know that is not Diddy. We want some DNA, Callie said. Like I said, I believe there's a lot of blood on his hands that we don't even know about. So now you got allegedly, everything happens in the wee hours in the morning, right? They plucked this guy, according to Little Rodney, outside, and he allegedly was powwowed by some drive-by. You got Wolf that looks just like, Justin looks just like him. And his dad steps outside. He's talking to some female, and 4 a.m., he's gone. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of blood that's on his hands that we don't even know about. I'm telling y'all, I feel that many bodies was picked up from LA, New York, Florida, Star Island. You can't tell me that everybody's there getting allegedly drugged up and popping pills and all that, and nobody ever OD'd.
That part. The ambulances never came over one day.
Now, Sebastian, I'm trying to tell you, it's not possible. It's just not possible.
Star Island is a very high elite area in Miami. And actually, one of the Real Houses of Miami actually has a mansion there. Lisa, with her ex-husband Lenny. Well, current husband still. It's not. There's a lot of shady stuff happening there.
Now, see, but this stuff, Callie, he's telling the truth. Listen, Diddy has kept more people quiet and then some. He kept a whole lot of people quiet and then some. Listen,
case in point, Miss Wallace.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I would be brave enough to say nothing when everybody even when you don't speak, you end up unalive. It's just, do you think it's a coincidence that what's his name, that plastic surgeon, just where he lived at, he just happened to run off a cliff? Here, the bodyguard that looks like your first son, he walks out of the club and now he's gone.
And don't forget about the coroner, the one that did the autopsy on Kim, that said it was homicide, and he got something. He died, and the other guy came in and said it was pneumonia.
Yeah, pneumonia. Come on, Katrina.
So did it, like I said,
I'll be sure.
He was finna do a tell-all book. he went into a coma. Jamie Foxx was finna out him. Something happened to him. Every time somebody come up against that man, something happened to him. Either they die, they go in a coma, or something happens to him. So that's why that boy probably didn't come out and tell everything. He's seen a lot of stuff, and that's probably why he didn't come out and tell a lot of stuff. But the way he putting everything together in his lawsuit, you got too many circumstances. You got too many things circumvented together. You got too many things going on. You should have just, if you're going to do a civil, you should have stuck with the civil part. Drop the names later if you needed that evidence or you need somebody to come back with you. Don't just do all these lawsuits at one time. You guys too. When these people look at this lawsuit, the judge look at this lawsuit, he's gonna be like, what in the hell is, what in the heck is this? You got too many things going in together. You did one case, you should have did that case. If that case didn't work, then you should have tried something different. But then you coming out, you name drop, you telling all your sources so they know exactly who to go to debunk everything that you're saying. They know exactly who to say. They can pay this person, Usher, Stevie J. You honestly think they gonna come out and say, because they're supposed to be a woman's man, they finna come out and say that they was having sex with a man? They're not finna do that. You put all your evidence out. You showed your hand before the people can even see anything in the other person's hand. You already played it. So you're going to lose in this poker game because you never show your hand. You always got to fold before you do anything. So you should have sat up there and held everything, all the information that you had on these people. You should have kept it to yourself. You should have filed one lawsuit, stuck with that lawsuit, and let that be in. Don't just come out with everything and tell everything that's going on, because the people know who you talk to. They're going to talk to these people first, and they're going to ask these people, did this happen, did this happen, did this happen? So you don't have nothing to fall back on because you already showed your hand. That's crazy. And his lawyer should have told. I don't know what kind of lawyer he got. That lawyer must have went to name preschool or law school on online services, because that's the stupidest stuff I ever seen. But anyway, I'm done.
No, you're fine. But see, that part right there, yes, that man did say it was something wasn't not right. And all of a sudden, he was no longer here. It's too much blood. It's too much blood. It's too much darkness. I do believe every dog has his day. I just think that it's going to run out when the money run out. And I think we're nearing the money running out. That's just my thought. Anybody else before I show this feel-good story and we get out of here? All right, let me show this story. I'm a day late and a dollar short with all the Black History stories, but we still gonna see it. It's all good.
By constitutional provision settles the fate for all coming time, not only of the millions now in bondage, but of unborn millions to come.
President Abraham Lincoln, portrayed by actor Daniel Day-Lewis, would eventually win the day. He signed the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery in 1865. And he did it in February. That would lead to the Black History Month we celebrate each year. And it's thanks in part to the efforts of a former enslaved person, Richard Robert Wright, Sr. Wright's own life story is just what this month is meant to honor. During the Spanish-American War, he was the highest-ranking African-American officer, the first to serve as U.S. Army paymaster. Late in life, he enrolled at the University of Pennsylvania's prestigious Wharton School of Business and founded the first Black-owned Northern Bank. A promoter of Black education, he founded what is now Savannah State University. Sled Dawson is the school's director of leadership and authority on Wright.
Why don't we know more about this man? How is he not stoked in the annals of African-American history and the likes of a Sojourner Truth or a Harriet Tubman or a W.E.B. Du Bois?
I think if we really look out there, you'll find there's a bunch of Richard R. Wrights, and I would say even that he helped create a bunch of future Richard R. Wrights, and that these were people who genuinely wanted to make a difference for their communities wherever they were.
After a lifetime of achievement, Wright had one more goal: to make February 1st, the day of Lincoln's historic signing, National Freedom Day. In 1948, a year after Wright's death, President Truman signed that into law. The day was later designated Black History Day. And meeting up with Negro History Week, established by historian Carter G. Woodson, eventually expanded into Black History Month.
Tell me this, what do you think he would be most proud of?
He would be very proud of our students, his students, after they graduated and the things they did in their communities when they went back home or to wherever they went and how they left that legacy there. And so, Savannah State University, one of the key things that we do is to give students an opportunity to apply what you learn to real action, to real practical experiences. And we try to make those connections today, just like you did back then.
So Mr. Wright worked his way up, became a college president, was a college president for 30 years. Then at 67, went to Philly, enrolled at Wharton, got his business degree, and then started the first bank, the first Black bank in the North. And then guess what? Made it through the Depression with $5 million in assets,
Wow.
something like $500 million today.
He was just a youngster at 67.
I know, right?
I think a lot of people don't know much about him or anything.
I was just going to say, and important reason to tell those stories.
And father of 9.
I am. At 67, you see what he did? All I could say to y'all is that sometimes when I pull these stories, is to say, like, don't give up. Don't give up. If you wake up, you breathing, and you still got a dream in your belly, give birth to it. I don't care how old you are. Do your thing. This man went back to school. Then he opened the bank. And, sometimes a lot of us get stuck. People want to say, oh, it's a bad time. This happened, that happened, this, that, and the other. Do we believe? That's right. Come on, father of 9. The thing is, do you believe? Because if you believe, listen, I want to say I started this channel during the pandemic. Do what you got to do, people. Listen, I love you guys for being here. We had a discussion today. And the discussion was the discussion. And I'm going to say this. Diddy, his time is going to come. But what's so sad is you have these people in history like this. Diddy could have been historic for a very good reason. When he was out in the 90s and all of those artists and everything he did and starting his own record company. But instead, like a R. Kelly, he's going to go down in history for some nonsense. Like a Bill Cosby going to go down in history for some nonsense. When are we going to build our history back up again and stop the nonsense? Listen, guys, I thank y'all for being here. If you didn't hit the like button coming in, hit the like button going out. And I'll see y'all next time. Good night and goodbye, everyone.
Do not cheat the diva or straight down. And make sure you take all your luxury because we pull out the last dog and take your luxury out. Thank you and have a nice safe day. Bye-bye.